From Nutrien Ag Solutions, this is Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, May 31st, 2022. I just made a mistake there. It is Tuesday. We had a holiday there yesterday, company holiday with Nutrien, so your weekly forecast video a day late, but hopefully still valuable to you. We got a pretty straightforward forecast here. We've got a storm system making its way across the east. You can see that reflected in our temperatures. You see the warmer air lifting out in advance of that, cooler air coming in on the backside of that storm system. We've got some showers across central and southern Manitoba. You can see the cloud cover here as we look at the infrared satellite picture. Again, picking out that storm system, the area of low pressure right about here. We've got a cold front that extends down across parts of the upper Midwest into the central plains of the United States. Thunderstorm activity along and ahead of that frontal boundary here down where I'm recording that video in the state of Illinois, the Midwestern United States. But again, on the north side of that, just a lot of showery activity, maybe some storms across Ontario today. And then as you make your way back toward the east across portions of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, we are sunny and dry for the day today, and sunny and dry for probably the next 7 to 10 days across much of that region. We'll look at the radar. We do have those rainfall warnings in place across, again, portions of central and southern Manitoba. We'll take a closer look at that here in just a moment, but just to show you the abundant dry conditions across the rest of the prairie here on this Tuesday morning, and this is really going to be the theme here as we head through the rest of the week. A closer look here, you can see the counterclockwise swirl of the storm system here as this radar loop gets going. You see the entire area of rain kind of circulating, something like that, and you can actually see the cool side of the storm here where you've got more kind of weaker rain showers, and then as you make your way back toward the warm side of the storm system where the area is a little bit more warm and humid, we've got some more instability in place. You transition over more to thunderstorm activity. So again, some strong storms in this region yesterday, not expecting much in the way of severe weather here across southern Ontario as we head through the day today. Really going to be taking things on a more tame direction here as this storm system begins to spin down. The last 3 days of precipitation, again, really following a corridor or a trajectory like this as the storm system ejected from the Rockies and then lifted northward over the top of a big ridge that we've got here across portions of the eastern United States. So this storm system is really going to get hung up here across portions of Manitoba up near the Hudson Bay over the next few days, and that's going to dictate not much change across the prairie here as it gets kind of bunched up as we head through the week. This is the NAM model, the 12-kilometer NAM model precipitation type forecast here as it takes us through midday on Friday. And again, we're playing about 3.5 days worth of precipitation loop here, the forecast for 3.5 days, and you don't see a lot of change. You see this system just get kind of hung up here across Manitoba. We're going to keep those showers, maybe even some snow flurries in the forecast here across central and northern portions of Manitoba. Not expecting any snowflakes across the prairie here, but this system just gets hung up. We end up dumping another 20, 30, maybe 40 millimeters of precipitation in some places here, especially north of Highway 16 across central and northern portions of Manitoba, but dry as you make your way back toward the west. We'll compare the NBM here on the left, the European model on the right. This is today through midday on Friday, so the next 4 days, again, dry across Alberta and Saskatchewan. Heavier precipitation here across central, southern, and the northern portions of Manitoba. And as we look at the next week, taking it all the way through June 7th, not much change. You see some precipitation here potentially showing up as we get toward the end of the 7-day forecast period. This really across extreme southern Alberta, maybe far southwest Saskatchewan. I wouldn't put a lot of confidence in that. That's as we maybe try to bring another system in here toward the weekend into early next week. Very low confidence with that. High confidence as we head through the rest of the week, probably through the weekend, in widespread dry conditions. And that's going to expand into central and southern Manitoba here towards the end of the week as this system starts to weaken and lift off toward the northeast, finally. So here's the upper level pattern. This will illustrate what we've got going on. Here is the system that's kind of bringing the showers to central and southern Manitoba today, brought the severe weather to portions of southern Ontario and extreme southeastern Manitoba during the day yesterday. And I'll take that little circle off there and hit play, and you'll see that system just sits there. This is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, getting into next week, and it finally ejects, gets kind of carried away here as we get into early next week. And so what that does is I let this play one more time, then let's stop it. We'll bring it back here to kind of present day. We'll let it get ahead here to, like, this is Wednesday night, here would be Thursday morning. What we end up here across the prairie with, this trough kind of sitting over here, we get northwest flow coming in on the backside of here, but on the backside of the trough, but convergent northwest flow here. This is a dry pattern. This is also a cooler pattern as we tug cooler air in here on the backside of this system. So temperatures, especially in the east across Manitoba, going to be at least a few degrees cooler than average as we head through the rest of the week. We'll start to mild or moderate back toward mild conditions as you work your way back toward the west into Alberta, as we start to see a little bit of ridging here on the backside. But the pattern doesn't move much. We get kind of blocked up here. This is not a real dramatic block, but you get kind of this omega shape here, and the pattern doesn't move a whole lot. This is all the way into Friday. Let's take it a little further here just to illustrate how long this stays like this. Saturday, now getting into Sunday. This is now Monday. And meanwhile, as we get into the weekend and early next week, we're maybe trying to resume a pattern that's sending some subtle disturbances here from the Pacific Northwest into the central, maybe the northern plains here, but really continuing to be missed by that in broad scale fashion across the prairie. We'll take this just a little bit further here toward the end of the deterministic run. So this is the European operational model. And then as we get into early next week, here's where maybe we start to bring another system in here, start to work some precipitation back into the prairie in at least scattered fashion. This is 8-9 days out there into the future. This is supported by the ensemble model. This is the European ensemble. We'll hit play on this. We'll take it a little bit slower, though, just to show you, again, the longevity of this pattern, how we get kind of stuck in this flow. We're, again, cooler in the east, where the low just continues to sit over the region, eventually turning mild across portions of Alberta and western Saskatchewan. But this is a dry pattern. The precipitation going to be heaviest in advance of the trough here as it makes its way off to the east. Heavy precipitation potentially returning to portions of the Pacific Northwest and southern British Columbia as we get into the weekend. But on the backside of this trough, this is a dry look, on the backside of these troughs with ridging pushing in here. This is just not one that's going to support organized precipitation, which is great news for folks in the east who have seen storm after storm with the exact trajectory to bring in some significant precipitation. So good news for folks in the east. We kind of shut that off here, at least as we head into the middle of the month. Your 10-day precipitation anomaly forecast from the European ensemble on the left, the GFS ensemble on the right, both of which agreeing with the drier conditions across the prairie here as we head through the next 10 days. More active conditions again toward the east, ahead of that trough, across the Pacific Northwest, southern British Columbia. This is in advance of the late week and weekend system. And then again, maybe some subtle disturbances kind of sneaking through the northern plains into the Midwest. But who's the driest? It's you folks right there in the Canadian prairie, at least for the first 10 days of June. Your temperatures, again, a bit cooler in the east. Again, we're talking about, upper teens maybe for the highs, lows in the middle single digits, maybe mid to upper single digits in the east. A little bit more mild as you make your way toward the west. Again, we're not talking about winter cold. We're not freezing everybody out here, but temperatures just going to be a bit cooler than average. It's going to be dry, but not hot and dry. More of a cool and dry pattern here across the prairie. We'll finish here. I've given the forecast without showing the European operational run, the precipitation forecast, but we can go ahead and run through that now. I've already told you it's going to be dry, and we'll show that here again, dry as the system lifts and stalls out across the region, across northern Manitoba, the Hudson Bay. This is, let's go ahead and I'll tell you what days we're looking at. Here is your day Tuesday. Showers lift out of southern Manitoba as we get through the end of the day today. Maybe bringing those showers and perhaps a flurry back into central and, south central Manitoba as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. But really this low starts to fall apart and lose its ability to produce heavy precipitation. We're talking about maybe spotty, very light showers, maybe some drizzle here as we head into the late part of the week. Here's your Friday. We'll take it into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. This is when we start to lose some confidence and complicate the pattern here. First to our south, but then eventually bringing that chance for scattered precipitation into the region once again, not until we get into early next week. Your temperatures over the next 10 days, again, turning more mild across Calgary here as we head into the weekend, dipping back down on the backside of or as we potentially work into a more active pattern early next week. Edmonton, a very similar look. Saskatoon, again, a little bit cooler, maybe closer to average as we get into the weekend. Really not seeing a sharp downturn with those temperatures, but it's just, we're not headed for a dry and extremely hot pattern. I just want to stress that. It is dry, but we're not headed toward, early season heat and drought. It's just simply the backside of a persistent system here that's going to keep us in a convergent upper level flow. That means dryness, but on the backside of that system, that also means cooler air filtering into the region, especially for you in the east.